SLU International Business Now, Conversations That Matter is a podcast developed by the Boeing Institute of International Business in St. Louis University's Chaffetz School of Business. Special thanks to founder Dr. Sung Kim for his grant to support the launch of this podcast.
Hello, friends. This is Todd Habermehl, the host of SLU International Business Now, Conversations That Matter. Our guests for this episode are Dr. Patricia Wolff, the founder and executive director of Meds and Food for Kids, and its CEO, Chris Greene. Meds and Food for Kids is a social enterprise dedicated to meeting the essential needs of malnourished children, pregnant and nursing women, and school children using ready-to-use therapeutic foods produced in their factory in Haiti. They have been saving lives, giving hope, and building a sustainable community in Haiti for 20 years. If you want to learn more about Meds and Food for Kids or directly support their mission, please visit their website, mfkhaiti.org. Hit the donate button, and for $69, you can save the life of a malnourished child. To support our podcast, please subscribe, give us a review, or share with a friend. Now, on to the show. We hope you like it as much as we enjoyed creating it for you. Pat and Chris, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having us, Todd.
Thank you, Todd.
We're really pleased that you joined us today, and thank you for giving us your time to tell this very important story. Let's just jump right into the questions. Pat, tell us about Meds and Food for Kids. What is it, and why are you on an international business podcast?
The Meds and Food for Kids is what's called a social enterprise in Haiti with the mission to treat malnourished children, pregnant women, anemic school children, basically malnourished population in Haiti. And because it's a social enterprise, which is run along the principles of a capitalist business, but has as its outcomes and its profits social good, I think that's why you asked us on this recording to talk about what is a social business and why would you do it. So I was the founder of this business because I was 15 years in Haiti as a volunteer pediatrician treating malnourished children in village clinics when it came to me that really what we needed to do was do something to prevent the fact that they were malnourished, which meant that we had to employ people because the reason that children were malnourished is they had no food, and they had no food because they had no money. They had no money because they had no jobs. We needed to really create jobs at the same time that we made and produced in Haiti the therapeutic food, which was just beginning then to get the attention of the World Health Organization and has subsequently become the gold standard for treating malnutrition in the world.
Pat, could you tell us a little bit more about RUTFs, or ready-to-use therapeutic foods? Would you define that for the audience?
Yeah, so before ready-to-use therapeutic food, all malnutrition treatment in the world via World Health Organization protocols was done in a hospital and needed refrigeration and needed a nurse. And it was basically milk, sugar, oil, and vitamins and minerals, but administered by a nurse in a hospital for a month. And if you were lucky enough to have the resources to be in a hospital for a month, be able to abandon your children, other children at home, stay with the sick child, and pay for your own food and any medicines that you would need, because there's no such thing as a free hospital. At the end of that month, 50% of the kids were no change, 25% had died, and only 25% were improved. So it was really a poor strategy for an impoverished family to bring their child to a hospital for malnutrition treatment. So consequently, they didn't do it. You know, poor people are smart about what's going to work for them and what's not. So this is 50 years of recommendations by the World Health Organization, and it needed a new paradigm. And the new paradigm was outpatient therapy. And outpatient therapy would have to be something that would be portable and also stable at tropical room temperatures without refrigeration and administered by the parents or the caretaker. So it consists of peanuts, powdered milk, sugar, oil, vitamins, and minerals. And it is it is now, became in 2007, the gold standard for treatment of malnutrition in the world. We started making it with a hand grinder in Haiti in 2003 and distributing it, and we had marvelous results. But, the World Health Organization moved slowly, and they did due diligence, and since 2007, it's been the gold standard for treatment in the whole world. So UNICEF is the main treater of children who have malnutrition, and they buy this ready-to-use therapeutic food from manufacturers of ready-to-use therapeutic food all over the world. And there's 14 or 15 or 16. They kind of come into existence and go out of existence, but we are one of those manufacturers. But what sets Meds and Food for Kids apart from the other manufacturers is that we also have programs. So we have malnutrition programs, we have prenatal supplementation programs, we have school feeding programs, and we have farmer programs to help them grow the peanuts that we need to put into the product.
Thank you for explaining that. I saw you speak one time, and in your quote that has stayed with me since then was doing good by doing good. And this is such a fascinating story. Could you give us a little bit of why did you start this enterprise in Haiti? What was the catalyst? What was the tipping point that finally pushed you over the edge and said, we have to do this?
Well, being a doctor is you treat, you put Band-Aids on things, right? You treat what's before you. But unless you're a public health doctor, you don't prevent, right? You treat. And so that's what the paradigm I was working under. I'd show up every quarter in Haiti for a week, and I would treat people who were presented themselves as sick with whatever I had available to me. But after 15 years of that, plus my kids were grown up, I had more brain space to kind of think about it and more time to kind of spend on it. I thought, really and truly, we should be preventing this, or we should at least be treating these kids better than they are currently treated. And my colleague in St. Louis at Washington University, Mark Maneri, had been working on this ready-to-use therapeutic food recipe: peanuts, powdered milk, sugar, oil, vitamins, and minerals, with André Briand from France. And he had just been doing some preliminary studies. So I visited him in Malawi and saw what he was doing, and I saw the potential for it, and I saw how we could just make it. It wasn't that hard. You just put basically 25% peanuts, 25% milk, 25% oil, 25% sugar, and grind it together. And so we bought the ingredients at the market. We brought them to a guy on the street in Cap Haitian who had a grinder. We said, could you grind this up? And then we took it to the clinic and we tried it, and everybody liked it. And whoa, it was miraculous. So these kids who were just very lethargic and couldn't even make melanin for their skin, their hair was white. After 2 weeks, they were up walking around, and they had black roots in their hair. I mean, you could see the black roots, and that was the proof positive that we had really made a huge difference. It was miraculous for the parents. It was miraculous for the clinic people. It was miraculous for the grinder people, for everyone. Everyone was very excited about this. And so we've grown from there.
So at that point, you knew you were onto something.
Yeah.
And then that led you to purchase your own grinder and rent a house and begin production.
Right.
Tell us about how you got from there or maybe how you got that first grinder, and then how you established yourself, and then what led to the establishment of the factory in Haiti.
So this was all very organic and gradual, because remember, I had a private pediatric practice in St. Louis too while I'm doing all this. And so from 2003 to 2006, I was just in Haiti, for 1 week every quarter. But in 2006, I started being in Haiti 3 weeks and in St. Louis 3 weeks, and Haiti 3 weeks and St. Louis 2 weeks. So I was splitting up my practice. And then in 2011, I just stepped back from my practice because I couldn't do everything at once. Everything just got to be like there was too much to do in Haiti, and I could be replaced just like that in St. Louis, but no one was really looking for my job in Haiti. And so I guess that, finding the first grinder took 20 phone calls. I had to call this person and that person and the other person. I said, this is what I'm looking for. And they'd say, well, try this. And then I'd call that and they'd say, no, we don't have it. Well, who can I call? We'll try these people. We'll try. Anyway, 20 phone calls later, I found Compatible Technologies International in St. Paul, Minnesota, which is a small nonprofit run by engineers mostly from the food industry like Pillsbury, General Mills. And they made gadgets, machinery for making food products in the developing world. And they had this grinder they said perfect, but I had to come there and learn how to use it and how to take it apart and wash it before they would sell it to me for $185. So I went there, I took it apart, I put it together. It was really pretty simple. And then I put it in my suitcase and I took it to Haiti. And then I showed the Haitian workers how to do it. And we did it in the Methodist Church schoolroom. And we did it once a month. We'd get them together for a couple of days once a month, and they'd make 100 kilos. It's a lot of work, because of the hand grinder, right? And then we put it in a big bucket, and then we put it in smaller little yogurt containers that I had brought in also in my suitcase and handed it to people and said, okay, so this is what we want you to do. We want you to give the child this many teaspoons 8 times a day with 3 ounces of water, and here's a cup, and this is what 3 ounces is. And here's some water purification so that the water is clean, and come back and see us in a week. And they would come back and everybody would agree that the kid was a lot better. And then you'd continue until the child was normal weight, which would it was something like 6 to 12 weeks, depending on how sick they were to begin with. And then we started doing this in all these clinics. And then we had a little mobile clinic. And then Ken Harrington said to me, basically go big or go home. So we got bigger and bigger. And then we really wanted UNICEF as our customer because they're the biggest purchaser of all this. And that was our sustainability plan, was to sell to UNICEF. We would fundraise, buy from ourselves, and distribute for free, right? But we really needed to have economies of scale, which means we need to have customers who would buy from us so that therefore we could make more and decrease our fixed costs, right? Spread our fixed costs. So, but UNICEF was always polite to us, but they always gave us a dragon to slay. And we would slay the dragon. We'd come back. They give us another dragon to slay, another dragon to slay, another dragon to slay. Anyway, so it became clear to us that they were really risk averse, and they wanted us to be backed up by some, food manufacturer that had status like Nestle's or Pillsbury or Kellogg's or General Mills or Nutritious. So we weren't really making any headway with them because nobody in our organization was a food technology person, and we didn't really have standing in the world of food manufacturers. But then the earthquake happened, and the earthquake happened as we were beginning our capital campaign to build a real factory, because we thought maybe that would convince UNICEF to be our customer. And we had applied for the Nestle's Creating Shared Value Award in the fall of 2009, and it was to be announced in January of 2010. And there's very prestigious people who were the judges for this. The judges knew all about us. And they had made a decision about who had won the award. And then the earthquake happened on January 12th, 2010. And the Nestle's people knew that we had not won the award, but they knew all about us. And there was this earthquake in Haiti. And so they gave us basically the same amount of money as if we would have won the award, right? Which was $295,000. And so we didn't win the award, but we got the money. And that was a huge infusion. That was more money than we'd ever seen ever in Meds and Food for Kids. And it was a big a momentum builder, basically, for the capital campaign for building factory, which once we got the right land and the right people involved, really went very quickly. And also, I think the earthquake made UNICEF think twice about us and being our customer, and send Nutritious to us to offer to be our partner. And what that did for us was that it gave us somebody with more depth of understanding of ready-to-use therapeutic food in their agency, and it gave us a certain level of comfort to UNICEF because they'd had a long relationship with Nutritious, and it was a pretty sophisticated food manufacturing organization in France. So we're to this day partners with Nutritious.
Chris, what is your history with MFK?
Yeah, thanks for the question, Todd. I started working with Meds and Food for Kids in 2015, and my wife and I had been living in country for 3 years at that time, and had heard lots of good things about the organization. My wife was practicing as a nurse, and so had used their product before to treat severe malnutrition in the clinics that she was working in. And so when I had the opportunity to come interview, I was really excited to kind of meet Dr. Pat as well as the team at the factory in Haiti. And so I initially joined the organization as the supply chain manager and worked in supply chain for around a year, and then ended up being promoted to the manufacturing director. And then a little while later, the COO. And so I had the privilege and the opportunity to work with Meds and Food for Kids in country from 2015 to 2019, and just kind of sit under Dr. Pat and learn just so much from her about treating severe malnutrition and really nutrition in general.
Thank you for giving us your background. Tell us more about why the factory is in Haiti. What are the objectives? What are the benefits? Wouldn't it just be easier to make the products in the United States, in Georgia, for example, where we grow a lot of peanuts?
Yeah, in many ways, the answer would be yes. It would probably be much easier to make the product in Georgia. However, as Dr. Pat mentioned earlier, really the objective of MFK, kind of pursuing the social enterprise path, is more than just the bottom line. So one of the things that is really critical to our mission and what we do is being in Haiti and really working at not just addressing the acute need, but looking at what are sustainable solutions for the long run. Because what we want to do is not just address severe malnutrition, which is our primary goal, but also look at some of the root causes that create that. And so for us, we really focus on how can we create local jobs? How can we build capacity in local workforce? What can we do to improve the local supply chain? Haiti has a large agriculture sector. And so being able to work with farmers, help provide inputs, and education to kind of help them grow peanuts locally and provide for their families is really a key part of what we do. And so having a factory in Haiti is how we can accomplish that. And it's really about having a local solution to the challenges that are being faced in Haiti.
Thank you for that explanation. That makes total sense. So tell me, is the factory a profitable venture, or does it sustain itself? How do you measure that?
Yeah, that's a great question. The goal is definitely sustainability. So Dr. Pat mentioned we kind of grew organically as an organization and built the factory. And one of the things we began to look at while we were there is to say, okay, we're addressing severe malnutrition, but there is a significant need in country as well as really a growing need globally. And we want to be a part of meeting that need.
Chris, so Chris and Pat, could you give us your long-term outlook for growth? Will there be customers beyond UNICEF? Are there other markets that you can distribute your product into and have the kind of impact that you're having in Haiti?
Yes, I think there are, Todd, there are many small nonprofits that are operating clinics throughout Haiti and really throughout the entire world. And in many ways, these small clinics are often represent, let's say, the best or a very efficient way of treating severe malnutrition, because they're embedded in the communities and really have their finger on the pulse of what is going on and who needs the help. However, the impact is often limited because, as you can imagine, smaller clinics have smaller budgets. And one thing that's really important to note is this product is always provided free to the mothers and children who need it. So the cost has to be carried by the organization operating the clinic or by organizations like UNICEF. So I think there is a lot of opportunity for us to expand our partnerships with these kind of clinics. And to achieve this, we really need to just raise funds so that we can provide this product either free to those clinics or oftentimes below the cost of production. And, to do this, we just really require on the great partners that we have, whether they be corporate or individuals, to just help raise the funds to offset these costs. But there's a lot of need throughout Haiti still and throughout the rest of the world. If we can, connect and help these smaller organizations find the resources they need to really treat these children.
I think that work is the dignity of man. And I think one of the most important things we do is provide work consistently. And it's meaningful work for people. And, it's difficult for unskilled people anywhere in the world to find meaningful work. And this is truly meaningful. I think that the long term, I agree with Chris. I think that the long term is that we partner with all of these clinics across Haiti. What's kind of happened for us in the last 3 years, though, with the pandemic, is that a lot of the clinics have closed or a lot of the nonprofits have left. But simultaneously with that, just in the last few months, UNICEF has, for the first time ever, gotten a big funding from Gates Foundation and USAID simultaneously to treat the tripling of malnutrition globally over the next 18 months. And we would like to really be able to respond to this by tripling our own production, and they would like us to. And so for us, our current, we see this as the path to sustainability for us, is increasing volume, right? And we just have to figure out how to have the cash flow to be able to respond to this. And so we are working on several pathways in order to be able to do that. One is loans, another is fundraising. But we have lots and lots of challenges in Haiti, of course, and you can just hear about them on the TV news. But we've always had lots and lots of challenges in Haiti. And at least twice before in my 33 years in Haiti as a volunteer, things have been as dire in Haiti as they currently are. So I'm with the Haitian people. I'm optimistic about what's going to happen and that things will straighten themselves out. But in the meantime, we have to problem solve around our barriers to success and figure out how to really take advantage of this big opportunity to provide UNICEF with much more product than they've ever asked from us before.
Chris, perhaps since we're on an international business podcast, speak to the business model that you have in terms of Porter's 5 forces: competition in the industry, potential of new entrants into the industry, power of suppliers, power of customers, threat of substitute products. Certainly, you all operate in an environment that most businesses domestically don't have to deal with. So tell us, can you give us that overview?
Yeah, absolutely. It's, when it comes to competition, the RUTF industry is actually quite challenging. There are probably between 15 and 20 global suppliers. Dr. Pat mentioned, they can because it's so challenging, we tend to see one or two go and then one or two arrive. But the products that we produce are all very similar. And so the market in some ways has shifted almost towards a commodity market where there is where price is really is driving things. And really, ready-to-use therapeutic food is a unique product. There's really nothing else that is produced that can produce the results that it does. And although there are some differences in the way recipes are formulated, by and large, they're really all the same. So even if you have there are some probably other means of trying to address hunger, but nothing that has the studies and has the proven efficacy that ready-to-use therapeutic food does. So our network, the group of producers that we're a part of, is constantly involved in research for what it would look like to have alternative recipes, maybe using a different set of raw materials. So that really has placed us in a unique position that by joining forces in this network, it kind of puts us on the cutting edge of new developments. But really on our side as an organization, I think the future for us is really the unique niche that we hold in this industry. So while there are, between 15 and 20 producers of ready-to-use therapeutic foods, there is no other organization in the world quite like ours, which fulfills, you'll often hear when you go to a restaurant, you'll hear the phrase farm to table. And, I like to kind of think of it as we are field to clinic. So there's no other organization quite like ours that is working with the farmers on the ground, providing education and inputs, purchasing those peanuts from them, transforming them into a finished product, and then distributing that finished product to clinics throughout Haiti. And we have boots on the ground. Many of the other producers globally are just producers and are not involved in the clinical side of this work. And so it's from an industry standpoint, that's kind of a good overview of where competition is and what some of the challenges are, as well as the opportunities for us.
So that sounds like that's the way your business model is constructed. That is your value proposition. And it could be
Absolutely.
Your competitive advantage as you grow into more of a global supplier of the RUTFs.
Well, I think it is a big advantage with UNICEF, who's the main purchaser of RUTF, because they are philosophically aligned with us. It is their mission. Their mission and our mission are aligned. It is their mission to decrease poverty, child poverty in the world, and improve child health in the world. And we are exactly aligned. And everybody else is not doing as Chris said, not doing the program. So even though we're smaller and we may be less, convenient for UNICEF, I think that the UNICEF is a very philosophical organization, and they buy from us for philosophical reasons, because we are basically an extension of them in terms of development. We are doing development at the same time we're employing people and infusing millions and millions of dollars into the local economy.
So as we close out here, Pat and Chris, I know you've mentioned fundraising several times. It's a big part of your story. It's going to have to be a part of your future as well. If any of our listeners would like to aid your cause, how would they go about doing that?
Well, they could go to our website, which is www.mfkhaiti. So M as in Mary, F as in Frank, K as in kite, Haiti, Haiti, the country, .org, and press the donate button. And they can help. It's really profound to save a life, and doctors and nurses don't very often even save lives. We provide a lot of medicine and bandages and stuff, but this is what any donor can do for us. For $69, they can save a life. And that is a profound thing, a profound and meaningful contribution to the world. So I hope that some of your listeners will go to our website and they will donate, and they can make a big difference. Sometimes the world seems very broken and complicated and stressful, and this is very simple. You can just save a life for $69.
Thank you, Pat. How often do we have the chance to change somebody's life for such a small amount of money? Well, I don't have anything else to say. I want to thank you both for coming on the podcast, giving us your time, telling us this incredible, fascinating, and wonderful story of your work in Haiti, and sharing with us your vision for the future.
Thank you, Todd. Thank you, Todd, for being such a good listener and such a good questioner. It's been a pleasure to be with you today.
Thank you. That means a lot. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Todd, and thank you to the Boeing Institute of International Business as well. We really appreciate this opportunity and you just taking the time to have us on your podcast.
Awesome.
Thank you for tuning in to the SLU International Business Now Conversations That Matter podcast. We invite you to subscribe to this podcast series so you don't miss any future episodes. To learn more about the Executive Master of International Business program, please visit biib.slu.edu. Again, that's biib.slu.edu.